Going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Behind Enemy Lines, a Texas A&M sports podcast. I am Tony Catalina. That's right, you did not hear that wrong. We were once a football-centric podcast. Now we are moving forward, covering football, baseball, basketball, all of the major sports. We're going to have you covered here, year-round coverage, year-round video coverage. So with that being said, man, I'm really excited to get going here. Obviously, the football team season didn't end the way that anybody wanted to. That loss to Miami was really tough, but that's in the past. We can talk about that when the time comes. Right now, you got to look forward, move forward. There's a lot of basketball to be played. Baseball is right around the horizon, and that's kind of the main things I'm going to jump on here. Obviously, that filler between when football season comes back, and obviously we'll have you covered with spring ball and all that moving forward. But right now, A&M basketball is getting ready to play SEC play. First game against the LSU Tigers in Reed Arena, but more so in a holistic view. That's what I want to talk about today is just the SEC, what it looks like and how it could shake out for this new look Aggie squad and what it could possibly mean going forward. Now, we all know how A&M basketball fared last year. Under Buzz Williams, they were a 4 seed. They went to Denver. They lost in the round of 32. Moving forward to this year, Bucky McMillan had to create a roster, had to create a team on the fly. What's that look like? How is that going to shape up moving forward? That's a lot of questions that are about to be answered, right? It's one thing to go 10-3 in the non-conference, but when you're playing an SEC, slate, everybody knows the SEC is top dog. It was last year. I would say it looks a little down compared to last season. I don't think that's like an unfair characterization there. But what this program is going to look like, what has a chance to look like, will really start with the SEC play going forward. So, obviously, if you follow basketball, you follow Aggies basketball, you understand that they were dealt a tough blow on Monday when Mackenzie Mbaku was injured. He's out for the year, dealing with a foot injury. So that changes things, right? For A&M basketball, there's no doubt about it. That guy was brought in to be a centerpiece of this team this year. What the future looks like, I won't speculate. We'll see what happens, right? Obviously, this kind of looked like a potential one and done situation with a guy who was already getting a lot of NBA interest, went to the NBA combine, and was doing a lot of workouts for teams, opted to come back to college, play for A&M. Only got to play about 7 games. He averaged 10.2 points during that time. So, but really discouraging as a player, as a person. You feel bad for him. You feel bad for the team. But you got to change gears. You got to switch gears. And I think it makes it so important, or it's just so crucial, that A&M was able to get Rashawn Agee on the floor and be able to get him eligible. If you remember this summer, he was fighting for his eligibility with the NCAA in court, coming over from USC, trying to fight for another year eligibility. Obviously, was granted that. He's been on the floor and he's been excellent for Texas A&M, almost averaging a double-double at this point. Really been the heart and soul. I mean, he wears number 12. They said that was a coincidence. I don't know how I believe how much of that is a coincidence, because this guy has been everything that the 12th man has hoped for him, right? Tough, leader, strong, somebody who says it, he walks it, he talks it, and he plays it, and on the court it looks just like that. So they're gonna have to lean on him a lot more, and obviously, when you look at a Bucky McMillan team, you look at just how the guard play is, right? This is the team that's second in the SEC in 3-point percentage. They're hitting about 38.2% of their threes beyond the arc, and they got 4 or 5 guards who are shooting better than 40% from beyond the arc there. So that's going to be what it is, right? If you look at this team, they're going to spread the spread the basketball around, and they're going to shoot beyond, 3-point range. They're going to try to, catch and shoot, one shot dribble, draw some actions up to get the ball to their shooters and go make plays. And that's Ruben Dominguez, right? Number one, Ruben Dominguez is leading this team in scoring ever since he got inserted into the starting lineup at about the 5th or 6th game of the year. His points is obviously has gone higher. He's still shooting, at a 40% plus clip, almost 50% there. Really impressive shooter. We had talked about it all the time, in the offseason. They were really excited. This is a kid who came over from Spain, who was one of the better international shooters, globally. And he come here and it's kind of been everything he thought it would be. Now, you look at guards like Marcus Hill and Jakari Lane. There are guys that they have pieces and they have talent here to feel good about. Now, where is A&M talent-wise? Are they a tournament team? Are they a team that could be a bracket buster? Are they somebody that can come in and really kind of shake things up? That remains to be seen. I think we'll learn a lot when this, SEC play starts to kick off. Saturday against LSU at 3 p.m. at Reed Arena is the first one. I think that a lot of eyes will be on just how they perform in that game. Coming into it, LSU is 12-1, right? They're playing well. Now, the interesting thing about it, and I think you guys understand this when you look at the way college sports is right now, the rosters are completely different. The fact that A&M has beaten LSU in 4 out of the last 5 matchups on the basketball court is almost kind of irrelevant just by the way the rosters are built. A&M has only one player returning. I think that's been a common thing. We understand that. Shout out to Chris McDermott being the only one that's held over from the Buzz Williams era. LSU isn't all that different. They've only had 2 guys come back. So 2 players on the roster from last year are still there, but they're led by some scorers who, they're gonna go out there and it's a different pace though, right? Like I think we're going to talk about A&M basketball is we're going to talk about the pace a lot. A&M likes to up and down the court, right? They're playing end to end on defense. They're trying to press on offense. They're trying to get you confused, get you in space, get you're fatigued, and then kick the ball out and hit a good shot, 3-pointer, and keep them moving. That's kind of what they're trying to do. LSU is a little slower, right? They're not as really dependent on the three point. They have guys who can score, but it's more inside the 3-point line. Guys who are kind of facilitate and slow the pace down, play a little bit better style of basketball. So we'll be interested to see how that goes. Moving forward, though, when you look at the whole SEC as a whole, Vanderbilt is 13-0 right now. They're 3-0 at away games. They haven't lost a game. Then you got Georgia at 12-1, LSU at 12-1, Alabama 10-3, Arkansas 10-3, Missouri 10-3, Oklahoma, Tennessee all 10-3. Texas A&M as well is 10-3. So it's gonna be really interesting to see just how this kind of shakes out. Interesting enough, Florida looks down 9-4. They look beatable. So, and when you look at some of these other teams, LSU is a beatable team as well. I know you kind of just look at how it shakes out, and it's tough to tell, and that's what's so fascinating. But SEC play, I think when you look at it in a vacuum, you say it looks more down than it did the year prior, right? There are still some really good scorers like LeBaron Fallon Jr. from Alabama. He's averaging, 21.9 points in 28 and a half minutes. Josh Hubbard from Mississippi State, he's averaging 21.3. In total, there's 3 scorers in the SEC who's averaging more than 20 points. And you got Kayshawn Hall from Auburn, who is rounding out that group at 20.1. But you kind of look down at some of the talent you're gonna have to play. It's gonna be really fascinating. I think when you look at this is a really guard heavy conference. I mean, I'm just looking at it right now in the notes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the 10 top scorers in the conference are guards. The only forwards who are in that mix is Kayshawn Hall from Auburn, like I mentioned, and Thomas Hall from Florida, who are both averaging, like I said, 20.1 and 16.7 points a game. Now, when you look at it, just the rebounding is interesting too. Like when you look at these guys, there's only one guy in the whole conference, and it's impressive, who is averaging more than 10 rebounds in a game. And it's Ruben Chinley from Florida, followed by Marquel Sutton. Marquel Sutton from LSU is somebody A&M is going to have to contend with. He's averaging 14 points a game and 9.6 rebounds. So that's a challenge right off the bat, right? You're looking at a guy who is going to challenge you in the first game on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see. But as a conference as a whole, I was in Nashville. I watched Texas, who had a down year last year, go and beat A&M in the first round. Now, is that some of the rivalry? Is that just how tight the conference can be? I think you ultimately understand when you're playing in the SEC, whether it be football, baseball, basketball, it's just talent galore, right? So you look at these guys, you look at anybody can beat anybody. We saw A&M beat Auburn last year when they were the 1 seed in Reed Arena, kind of shocked them. And you got to find out exactly what it is. It's too early to make out just who is what in this conference, but it's a lot of fascinating basketball we're going to be able to watch here. So I'm intrigued to see how it's going to shake out. I'm intrigued to see exactly what it's going to look like. I think a lot of people are excited about what this A&M team can look like. Right off the bat, I've been, almost every basketball game that hadn't coincided with football. What I can say is it's an exciting brand of basketball. This is a team who can run and shoot. This is a team who can play high intensity. They're fun, right? There's a lot of guys who could score. Pop Isaacs, Marcus Hill, Jakari Lane. There's just guys who can shoot. Ruben Dominguez, even Zach Clements, the big man, 6'11" from Kansas. He grabs boards. He can shoot on the perimeter. Like there are a lot of good pieces here, but what's it look like translated into arguably the best conference in basketball? We got to figure that out. And we'll talk about it every week. We'll talk about all the things. There are obviously 2 games a week. Typically Monday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday is the fix. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about it all season long. I have you covered there. But I'm intrigued. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think A&M ceiling is? What do you think they're going to do this year? I know there are a lot of question marks about this roster and what it can look like, and I think we're going to start to get those answers. So, from Tony Catalina at the Austin American-Statesman, it's been another episode of Behind Enemy Lines, not just a football podcast. Peace.